is that it? I've just spent a couple of hours with Samsung, or Sammy to his mates, having a fondle of his new Galaxy S25 Ultra, and I must admit I've come away a bit underwhelmed. It's almost like they've phoned it in this year. By the way, I've made a full S25 versus Plus versus Ultra video if you want to know the main differences between them and if you are looking to upgrade, which one you should buy. But for this video, I want to focus on the successor to this guy, one of my absolute favorite phones from 2024, the new Galaxy S25 Ultra. And if you do like this video, then a cheeky thumbs up and subscribe would be smashing.
He's known for his tech reviews, news, tips, and tutorials.
So what is new with the S25 Ultra? Well, on the outside, they've made the screen a tiny bit bigger, now 6.9 inches, up from 6.8, and thanks to 15% slimmer bezels, which are nice and symmetrical by the way, it's about the same overall footprint as before. The squared off, boxy, jab into your palm corners have been rounded off, and along with the now flat frame around the edge, actually makes it look and feel quite different to Galaxy Ultras and, well, Galaxy Notes of old. And it's also 15 grams lighter than last year, now down to 218 grams. So rounded corners and lighter weight certainly make it more comfortable to hold, but what is going on with these chunky lens bezels? I'm not sure I've ever said those words before, but side by side with the S24 Ultra, I don't know, I feel like the old one looks better. Aside from the new ultra-wide lens, the camera hardware is exactly the same this year, so I'm not sure why we need these chunky rings. So rounded corners, flat edge, slightly bigger screen, and of course, new colors. We have titanium silver blue, white silver, gray, and black. Now I do quite like the silver blue, but Samsung's online exclusive colors also sound very tempting, including what has been described as Batman's phone, titanium jet black. I want that one. And if you fancy checking them out for yourself, I will leave a very handy link to Samsung's website in the description below. Also, if you've got any questions that you want me to cover in my full review of the new phones, drop a comment. We do get tougher glass for the screen, which Samsung tells me is 29% more scratch resistant than last year's S24 Ultra. However, we do also have the same IP68 water and dust resistance. And so unlike a lot of its latest Android rivals, there is no IP69 in sight, which protects it from hot jets of water. But I suppose as long as you don't take it into a scalding shower or into a geyser in Iceland, you should be okay. As for the screen, not a whole lot has changed. It's still a gorgeous 120Hz AMOLED. It's completely flat, it's huge at 6.9 inches, and it still has one of my absolute favorite and criminally underrated features introduced last year on the S24 Ultra, the anti-reflective coating. No other phone that I'm aware of offers this, not even the S25 or the S25 Plus. It's exclusive to the Ultra, and it makes such a difference in reducing glare and reflections. I love it. I am told that we have a slightly improved coating this year for the S25 Ultra, but side by side, I couldn't really see a difference. And also we have the same 1500 nits in high brightness mode, peaking at 2600 nits in HDR. No change there. But behind the scenes, we're going to get nerdy for a second here. You know the LTPO display technology that we have on phones, which as you know stands for low temperature polycrystalline oxide. Well, we've had LTPO 4, I think it is. It's basically the screen technology that allows you to efficiently have a dynamic refresh, and we've got sort of 1 to 120 Hz. Well, Samsung this year have actually switched this tech out for a new HOP 3.0, HOP 3.0, but essentially Samsung say this new tech is more efficient, will give you better touch response times, great for gamers, and apparently it allows the adaptive vision booster, that's where the phone can get super bright if you're out in the sun, more steps or more levels of brightness adjustment. None of that is particularly exciting though. I think what I'm most excited for is this new Pro Scaler. This is exclusive to the new Samsung S25 series, thanks to Samsung's collaboration with Snapdragon and the 8 Elite for Galaxy chip we have in all three S25s, and also because they've borrowed some of the AI upscaling tech from their Samsung TV team, giving us, apparently, up to 43% improved perceived quality when streaming and watching shows. And the idea is you'll take your S25, any one of the three, although it will work best on the Plus or the Ultra because they have the higher quality resolutions, and then next to last year's phone or any other phone apparently streaming YouTube or Netflix or any video content, it should look enhanced, better, sharper. Whether that's a good thing, I'll have to test in my full review. but all that's running behind the scenes. You don't get to adjust it or turn it on and off. It's just a feature of the phone. The headline upgrade though, aside from those fancy colors and rounded edges of course, is the new chip. All S25s globally use the same Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, which is a slightly overclocked version of the chip with some specific tuning for the camera and all the AI features. And boy, is there a lot of AI crammed in here. More on that in a second. We're talking 37% faster CPU, 30% faster GPU, and a 40% faster MPU, and while using up to 24% less power. So it should be a good deal faster, and hopefully last a bit longer as well, particularly when you're gaming. And to keep things running cool, the S25 Ultra has a 40% larger vapor chamber than last year, and for the first time our mate Tim has made an appearance, or thermal interface material, which helps dissipate the heat 8% faster. What I will say is that the S25 Ultra did feel a bit snappier, a bit nippier compared to my S24 Ultra when just using it side by side and scrolling around, opening apps, but that could also be down to One UI 7, which you can download on your phone right now, although it's currently in beta. It'll be publicly available, I think, soon after the S25 launch. Still, whether it's the new chip, the latest software, or the enhanced touch response time, it did feel very fast, and I do have to give Samsung credit for offering 7 generations of OS updates, which is best-in-class support. But, and it's a big but, and I cannot lie, it's what hasn't changed that really bothers me. Same 5,000 mAh battery, same 45-watt charging, same 12 GB of RAM, and same 256 GB of storage on the base model, all of which is exactly the same as the Galaxy S20 Ultra from 5 years ago. That's crazy to me. At the very least, the price is also the same as last year. We're talking $1249 here in the UK, $1299 in the US, again for the base model with 256 storage, and which by the way is still 50 quid or $100 more than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and a whopping £300 more than the latest OnePlus 13, which has the same RAM, same storage, basically the same 8 Elite chip, and a 20% bigger battery. To which you might say, well, hang on a minute, Tom, name me another phone that has all this flagship stuff and an S Pen. And you're right, I love an S Pen. I don't use it all the time, but I like having it for signatures and doodling and playing noughts and crosses on the train. But even our precious S Pen has been downgraded. They've dropped Bluetooth support, meaning you can't use it as a remote shutter anymore. This is probably one of the main things I use the S Pen for, and with the S25 Ultra, this will no longer work. Now apparently, one of the reasons why they didn't go with a bigger battery cell and they've stuck with 5,000 mAh is that for a lot of brands, particularly outside of China, it becomes difficult to transport anything with a bigger cell by plane. Apparently they can't, so it has to go by ship, which is more expensive or takes longer. And to be fair, the new Honor Magic 7 Pro has 2 different battery sizes, a smaller one in the EU and then a bigger one in China and in global markets. So maybe there is a logistical excuse here, but when you consider you could get a OnePlus 13 with a 6,000 mAh battery and 80-watt charging, and also for 300 quid less, it definitely makes the S25 Ultra a tougher sell. Let's talk about the camera, because the Ultra is the only S25 series phone to have a hardware upgrade, courtesy of the new 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera. So now both your ultra-wide and your macro shots benefit from 4 times the resolution, and side by side it did seem to offer a little bit more detail and texture, and it's also able to shoot in 8K 30 now, meaning every lens supports 8K. So aside from the new ultra-wide, there's no hardware change here. Same 200 megapixel main, same 10 megapixel 3x telephoto, and 50 megapixel 5x. But as we all know, the specs and the hardware does not tell the full story, especially when it comes to the camera. Software processing has a huge impact. And just going on first impressions, next to my S24 Ultra, the S25 Ultra does seem like a marked improvement. My face is, well, a whole lot less red, skin tones and colors appear much more natural, there's a touch more detail, portraits look nicer, as does low-light video, which appears much less noisy. They've also made zooming in and out smoother, we get slightly faster shutter speed, and for you pro videographers, there's a new Galaxy Log mode, which lets you, well, shoot in log, capturing more dynamic range, and then you can throw on a LUT to make it look less, well, shot on Samsung. And there's new AI photo and audio editing tools, which I'll talk about in a second. How is this all possible if the hardware hasn't changed? Well, it's thanks to their Pro Visual engine, which they introduced on last year's S24 Ultra. We now have the next generation of the Pro Visual engine, and with the Snapdragon 8 Elite's new ISP and Samsung's AI, and I presume a little bit of magic thrown in, this all comes together to reduce noise in videos and improve colors and detail in photos. And to their credit, again, first impressions, it does seem to make a difference here. I will admit I'd hoped for a little bit more of an upgrade in the camera department, but it is still a terrific camera and you're not going to be disappointed. The question is, does it keep up with the competition? And crucially, is it still the zoom king? Because I think my Vivo X200 Pro might have something to say about that. Now, at my briefing for the S25 series, which was a really helpful briefing, they gave me lots of information, but they did spend probably over half the time talking about AI features. And this year, thanks to the much beefier NPU in the chip and also a new LLM baked into the phone, a lot more of the AI features can be done on device rather than using the cloud, which is more secure and also faster. The most obvious new features, the ones that you'll notice first, is the more personalized AI, which includes this new Now Brief feature, where it will give you multiple daily briefings based on your schedule, your energy scores, reminders, and then in your evening briefing, it might show you photos you've taken that day or what's on tomorrow. So you've got Now Brief, and you've also got Now Bar, where you'll see here at the bottom of the lock screen, which will show you some of the key Now Brief information, as well as sports scores and timers, Google Maps turn-by-turn navigation, and we have both Google's Gemini baked in, as well as Samsung's Bixby, and both Gemini and Bixby have more conversational search. So you can maybe say, find my pictures from Italy, or the text is too small, can you make it bigger, or can you make the screen brighter? Much more natural language interactions. We have AI Select, where the AI will suggest helpful actions or recommended apps via the Edge panel. So the AI will analyze the whole screen, and so let's say it sees a video, it will give you options to make a GIF or download the video or crop for IG. You've got Circle to Search, of course, which now has an enhanced UI. There's also this very nifty YouTube to Notes, where if you watch a YouTube video, you can say, please summarize this video, and then save in Samsung Notes or Google Notes.
It has a new
What else did Tom the Tech Chap talk about?
He talks about the phone's design, battery life, performance, screen, camera, and software. He also talks about...
A couple of extra features include Browsing Assist, which can now read aloud. Currently, it can summarize and translate on the Samsung browser, but now you can read aloud the highlights. You've got Writing Assist, Drawing Assist, there's an auto trim which can combine and create a sort of highlight reel of your photos and videos from the day. Call recordings are now supported in the UK, where you can transcribe and summarize recordings. And live translation now supports 20 languages, up from 16. And of course, you have all the image generation tools like Sketch to Image. And in theory, all these AI features should be improved thanks to the new LLM that's built into the S25 series. And Breathe. There's a lot of AI stuff there to talk about, and I will go into more detail in my full review. But despite all that, and some nice refinements to the phone, I mean, we're talking new ultra-wide camera, slightly refined design, which is more comfortable. We have the much more powerful chip, improved cooling, slightly improved camera as a result of the new Pro Visual engine, some hardware upgrades to the screen behind the scenes, and new colors. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is still, of course, a great phone. The trouble is, I just don't think they've done enough. I think the competition's getting much stronger. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my full review of the S25 Ultra coming soon. And if you do fancy upgrading, then I will leave a link to Samsung's website in the description. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.